Hello, and welcome to a new supplemental edition of Recruiting in Hospitality. I'm Lancelot Ryan from Caterer.com. I have with me today from Hospitality Action, Mark Lewis. Mark, hello.
Hi, Lance. How are you?
I'm bearing up. How are you?
Yeah, much the same. Yeah, working hard and bearing up, but staying safe.
Yeah, your phone must be ringing off the hook.
Yeah, it's been a mental time. Yeah, we at HA have been working like you wouldn't believe for the last 10 days or so, just to field as many calls for support as we can.
I won't keep you too long then. I just want to ask you a few questions because things are changing every day, as you well know. What kind of situation do hospitality workers who've been contacting you, what kind of situation do they find themselves in right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think they find themselves in great distress, and there's a lot of misunderstanding of what's going to happen next. I think that's what we're hearing from people who get in touch. A lot of people have lost their jobs, or they're being furloughed, or they've been let go because the business is closing itself. So people just don't really know where they stand. And of course, they're still getting bills through the post. They're being asked to pay the rent and the gas bill, and they've got to pay for food wherever they can find that at the moment. So it's just a terribly stressful, trying time for many. I would say hundreds of thousands of people in hospitality who are just trying to keep food on the table.
How are you seeing things develop in the last week? Because it's over this past week where things have really begun to change and have become very serious. How have you seen things develop?
Well, I think for a long time, or for days or weeks, a lot of businesses were trying to stay open and keeping teams on and still carrying on as before. But obviously the footfall was dwindling. And then, of course, last week, when we were told not to go to hotels, restaurants, cafes, pubs, bars, then I think that made people's minds up for them. I think for a long time there was disconcertment and frustration that on the one hand, the general public was being told not to go out and not to go to restaurants, pubs and bars, but at the same time there wasn't an order from above, a diktat that all of these places should close. So it was a real sort of limbo, a never world of should we or shouldn't we? And I think at least there's been that finality now, so people can crack on. So you know, obviously the support that the government announced late last week for employees, I think they're going to pay 80%, aren't they, of salaries up to a threshold, an earnings threshold. So that was welcomed, as was the support for businesses that came, I think, the day before. But of course, it's come too late for many people. I think it's not going to hit bank accounts until the end of April, from what I understand. So it leaves people in this period of time, which is just creating great anxiety and distress.
Hospitality Action has started an emergency fund. Tell me about it and how it works.
So we sat down as a team early last week when we were still at our offices in Farringdon in central London, and we said, look, either we can continue to do what we always do, which is great work to help people in difficulty or crisis across the industry, or we can do something to react specifically to this crisis. And we thought, well, if not now, then when? So we decided that we would set up an emergency fund and ask the general public and the industry at large to support us through donations. And we are terribly conscious that we can't help all the people. We are hoping to help hundreds, possibly thousands of people get through these next few weeks with crisis grants to help them pay bills and pay for food. But we're working on the basis that we'd rather help some people than nobody at all.
Is the appeal ongoing?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, we've reached about £160,000 of donations to date. We've had fantastic support from around the industry, but also what's been really heartwarming is that the people who normally go to hotels, restaurants, pubs and bars are getting in touch and saying, do you know what, I can't take mum out for lunch on Mother's Day today, so I'm going to give you £100 instead, or I can't go to the pub with my mates tonight, so here's the £25 I would have spent on beer. And I think what we're seeing is a really heartwarming response and care being shown by the general public for people working in hospitality.
How do you hope that the emergency fund will directly help hospitality workers, taking into account what the government's come up with now by helping with 80% of their salary?
Well, for as many people as we can help, it's a stopgap, and it's nothing more than that. It's a crisis grant of £250 for people who apply and are successful. And obviously, there has to be an element of means testing. But if somebody's successful, then we will send them at the end of that day a £250 payment, which is just to allow them to make sure that they can feed their kids and they can pay a really pressing bill, and hopefully just survive until the end of April when the government support will kick in. So it's nothing more than that, but it's the best we can do at the moment. And the feedback from people that we've already awarded grants to is really positive, and that's been really heartwarming.
That's great. That really is. There's some breaking development right now. I mean, as you know, Caterer.com is in partnership with UKHospitality and the Total Jobs Group. And what we're doing is we're showcasing thousands of jobs, non-hospitality roles on our site just during the crisis. And the aim of it here is to help hospitality workers to find temporary work, help them get back on their feet as well. And also the hope is to get them to use some of their skills that could be transferable to in some way keep the country moving. And I'm very pleased to say that Hospitality Action is partnering with us on this too. Why did you feel it was important to get involved in that way?
We're absolutely delighted to be involved. As I said a moment ago, all we can do at the moment, the best we can do is just keep people going until the end of April when hopefully they will start getting support from the government. But of course, there's a longer term play, isn't there? Firstly, the jobs aren't available, so people need to start earning. Secondly, there are other industry sectors that are seeing a sudden need for more employees. So as soon as I heard what Caterer.com was doing to join up these dots, I was as keen as mustard to get involved. I think that there's a real synergy between what we're doing in the short term and what you're doing in the mid and then the long term. And so, yeah, we're delighted to be standing shoulder to shoulder with you on this.
How do you think it will, again, like I asked about the emergency fund, how do you think transferring, using these new type of non-hospitality roles, applying for them is going to help the people who are contacting you? And they are in dire straits, a lot of them. How do you think it will help?
Yeah, it'll give them a new opportunity, a whole new opportunity to find employment. And of course, we all love and care about the hospitality industry, so we hope that they go away, earn money, but then come back when we're back up on our feet again. But in the meantime, I think it's going to help them by suddenly creating a whole new route to jobs near to them. It'll be in sectors that they wouldn't have considered before, but lucky sectors to be getting all these fantastic hospitality workers coming in and working for them. Been a lot of talk recently about how the government it speaks rather disdainfully about unskilled workers, but we know, you and I know, what fantastic skills, technical skills, people skills, relationship skills there are in the industry. So when they're brought to bear in other industry sectors, I think people will start to realise what a great workforce hospitality has.
I really hope this brings it into sharp focus for everybody. That just exactly what you just said, very, very important. If hospitality workers need help, how do they contact Hospitality Action?
Yeah, they need to come to our website. So we are www.hospitalityaction.org.uk, and if they come there, they'll find hotlines that they can call and emails they can write to. And of course, we'll help people in the longer term as well as the short term. We've spoken so far about the emergency crisis grant, but we're helping people every day with all sorts of different issues that could be physical or mental health issues. Poverty issues are ongoing, relationship issues, you name it, all the issues that affect the human condition we help people with. So that will continue. That's our commitment to the industry, even as we're in the short term running this crisis grant.
How can employers or anybody else get involved and help? Can anybody donate to the fund? How can they do that?
Yeah, people can. If they go to the website, they'll find a donate now button. But we are obviously mindful that this is not a great time to be asking industry for financial support. When it comes, we're grateful for it, but we're not heading out with a begging bowl. We're hoping instead that the wider general public will think, do you know what, we're so blessed to have all these wonderful hotels and restaurants to go to, and now we see that it's time for us to pay back. And that's what we're seeing. People in their droves coming to us, sometimes giving us hundreds of pounds, sometimes saying, do you know what, all I can do is give you £5, but I'd like to do that because I want to see a hospitality industry back on its feet and there for me to enjoy when all this madness is past us. So I think that's what we're looking for most of all. It's shouting to the wider world and saying, listen, you have such wonderful times. You live your lives in hospitality outlets, and now this is the time to pay back.
Mark, thank you very much for your time today. I know I've said it before, I know how busy you are, but it's been great talking to you. Let's please keep in touch, and then as things progress, hopefully we can talk again.
Brilliant. I look forward to that. Thanks for your time and take care, Lance.
All the best, Mark. Take care now.
Yes.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You can follow us on Twitter, which is Caterer.com, at Caterer.com. That's Caterer, DOTCOM. Likewise on Instagram. Check out the blog, which is blog.Caterer.com. Search for us on LinkedIn, and please subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, on Spotify, and Podbean. That's the one. Take care. I'm Lance Ryan. All the best. Bye-bye.